What is going on? Governor Chisgule here, and today we're going to talk about 12 crucial mistakes, giving you 12 tips to address them in war and how you can get better at slaying your enemies. So if that's the kind of stuff you're into, like and subscribe, and let's do this thing. All right, my friends, welcome back. Today, we're going to be talking about 12 crucial mistakes that we see at war, even in kingdoms that are in Season 3 of KVK. I can't believe that these things are still happening, and yet they are. So let's get right into these 12 things that I find totally insane, and let's fix them for you. First and foremost, if you are at war, assuredly you are defending and rallying different things. And if someone is rallying something, for the love of all that's holy, please send the right kind of troop to the rally. If you're rallying with cavalry, send cavalry. If you're rallying with infantry commanders, send infantry. Look at who is leading the rally and send the right type of troop. If I give an example, I'm sure we have some barbarian forts going right now. Honey Badger is leading a rally against a barbarian fort. Now, besides the fact that against barbarians, the answer should be that it's always cavalry, we can see that it's Minamoto and Cao Cao, which means bring cavalry. Those are cavalry commanders. Send the right type of troop to the rally, please, because there are skills, there are talents that will completely not apply if you send the wrong troop type and you are actively harming your rally rather than helping it. If you send the wrong thing, take like 10 seconds to understand what the right kind of troop type should be. And if you need a clue, again, you don't have to look just at the commanders like I'm showing here. You just tap the button and tap on the type of unit. It will tell you what is there. Send that. That's my recommendation to you. Let's get into tip number 2, which is don't reinforce structures or rallies from really far away. Now, when you reinforce a structure or a rally from really far away, I'll give an example here. I'll zoom way out. If I were to hit reinforce with a full march of troops on this flag all the way over here, you can see off to the side, right over here, the march time. For this particular unit, it's going to take 3 minutes and 53 seconds, right there, to get to this structure. If I hit reinforce right now, and I hit march, that means that for that amount of time, that structure is going to have less troops in it than full capacity. And if that structure is being attacked, no one else can get in it to bring it to full capacity, which means you're fighting 200 to 300,000 troops down from what would be in a max structure. That structure is taking more damage than it should have otherwise because you're reinforcing from too far away and there's nothing anyone can do about it short of kicking you out of the alliance, which is a really garbagey thing to happen in the middle of a KVK. So do not reinforce a rally or structure from really far away. You are wrecking your allies by doing so. Let's get into the third tip. Tip number 3, mistake number 3. Check the pathing that you're going to take when you reinforce something. So I'm showing you now a reinforcement path. This happens to be through all ally territory. That's a safe path to take. Even though, again, I think that you should instead go next to the structure, then fill it, rather than refill it from far away. But let's say I was reinforcing this all the way over here, even though I get that I can't right now. I would be marching across a bunch of territory that might be hostile, that might be dangerous. Your whole army could be destroyed by the time it gets to where it's going because you're literally marching through the hive of the enemy. Make sure that not only are you not reinforcing from far away, but that you see the path you're going to take and that it makes sense at all. Tip number 4 in war is that flag building really is an art. If you think that it's simple, you shouldn't be building the flags. And let's just leave it there. There's probably a whole separate topic and 20 minutes we could talk about for flags. If you are not the primary person for building flags, like don't build them. Don't build them. You're an R4. Great. Don't build the flags unless you're supposed to. Okay, next up. Number 5, don't log off on the front line. There's a couple reasons why that is important. If, let's say, we were battling against purple and I had this really premium spot. Now, purple are our allies, so this is a separate dialogue, right? But if we were at war, right, it doesn't actually apply here, but if we were at war, and I log out in this position, That means no one else from my alliance could jump into that premium position to fight. And you can get into a situation where there aren't enough premium spots available and people can't fight. This is a huge problem. Don't log off in a premium position, and when you're going to port away, make sure someone is ready to immediately port in to be in that spot. Now, I can show you, well, I can't actually because I have troops marching, but I could port slightly more to the right from where I am now in this particular instance and infringe on the opposing side's territory. So these spots are very important. Don't go offline on the front line. And look, if you're going to go offline, for the love of all that is holy, use a peace shield and probably use a 24-hour one. It's worth the gems. Don't get zeroed. Just because you're on territory now doesn't mean it'll still be your territory when you get up, especially in a particularly bloody war. Let's look at the next tip. Tip number 6. Tip number 6. We jumped ahead. Tip 6. Don't fill or top off a rally with a small number of troops. Let me go look at a rally here. Let's say that Honey Badger's rally was not full. And this is not the case. I'm just giving an example, okay? But let's say, I could bring 37,887 troops to fill it up. The reason I think that that's a terrible idea is that now you can't join the rally with a second march. And instead of sending 210,000 troops or 265,000 troops or even 310,000 troops, your one march that you've committed to this rally is 37,887, which is a pretty low contribution relative to what you could have done. So you're not doing a favor by sending in the last 20,000 troops to make it an exact 2 million. That's not actually a proper favor. Send a full march. Don't prevent yourself from doing that by sending a dinky one. Now, the next tip, number 7, is don't leave a flag or fort that's building unless you already have your replacement right next to it ready to jump in. Okay, do not leave a flag or fort that's building. People are counting on it building when it's going to finish, and the time going quickly. When you leave, it slows down. It's a big problem. We had at one point done a really amazing forward fort build and does all this cool stuff, and people were getting out of it for who the heck knows why. We could have done some really amazing, really strategic things, and people were derping. Don't get out of a thing that's building unless your replacement is acknowledged, ready, standing there, and you're on voice, and it's I'm getting out, you're getting in, and you coordinate it. People are counting on you to build stuff. Don't leave. The next tip, tip number 8, or common mistake that I'm surprised we see in sort of season 3 of KVK is do not waste your resources and speed ups on field fighting if you can't afford it or are super overpowered. Right? Don't trade negatively. Field fighting is honestly one of the most expensive, weirdly expensive aspects of Rise of Kingdoms, because you get your resources for free if you farm them or you steal them, but man, a mistake in the open field is, especially with T5, dozens of millions of resources, if not hundreds of millions of resources, if you have lots of marches. So if you can't afford to field fight or are overpowered profoundly, don't zero your resources by fighting in the field in a way that didn't make any sense anyways. I was using this phrase, and this sort of bleeds into the next tip, troop responsibly, okay? Troop responsibly. They're your troops. They're your resources. Be smart with them. You need your own level of personal accountability with your account and how you're playing the game to best serve your allies. And I'll tell you, it is not zeroing your resources, giving the enemy kills. It is not running around taking field fights you shouldn't be taking. Your biggest contribution is getting into structures and getting into rallies. That is where the work happens. And yes, owning the field is important. There are times where you need to be there, and it is crucial, and it is critical, in fact. But don't take fights that don't make sense. Now, when I say troop responsibly, in this case, I'm meaning do not stay in flags with non-optimal commanders. You need to know if a good one is coming. But if you're in a flag that's got a Guan Yu primary defending it and you're about to get rallied by Attila Takeda, just get out of the flag. Something is not working and that flag is going to get wrecked. In a similar vein, look, I appreciate the dedication of I'm putting my troops in a flag and I'm not even going to watch. I appreciate that, But that's actually bad, because there are times where we're trying to dodge rallies, and we're either stuck there because there's a whole bunch of people offline in the flag, or we're stuck there because we feel like there's all these people that are going to die because they're not paying attention. If you have troops in a structure, gosh darn it, pay attention to them. Troop responsibly, people. That is like such a valuable commodity to yourself and your kingdom. Let's go to the next tip. The next one is to plan to switch between alliances extensively. Extensively. Go to where the fighting is. Your alliance doesn't matter at all in KVK. Whatever you preconceived notion you had of like, oh, this is my alliance. Like, no. No. You're a kingdom. An alliance is a vessel that can place down territory, and you go to whichever vessel needs the support to place and defend territory. Period. The end. That's it. No over-attachment to your alliance. There's weirdness about registering for Ark of Osiris, and it's really grumble about how that works during a KVK. Ours got messed up, but we couldn't fight anyways in Ark of Osiris because we were too busy warring. Whatever. Point is, plan to switch alliances. And the last tip I have for you. The last tip I have for you is that T5, when you get there, are extremely expensive to clear out of your hospital. It is very, 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 very resource intensive. You probably should field fight with T4, and T4 are possibly my most precious troops right now. They're amazing. In my opinion, you field fight with T4 and you send your T5 to die. T5 exists to get you points in events. You speed up your T5 to, get a bunch of points during some event, and then you send them to die because they're so darn expensive to repair. Like, even I, with all these resources, and all the spend I have, find myself saying they're too expensive to repair, which means they're probably really expensive for you too. Great news. They're still really great in Ark of Osiris. So, okay, accumulate some for Ark, right? Accumulate some for these different game modes. But after a certain point, like, they're kind of just there to die. And your T4 are actually your most expensive troops in terms of speed ups used. So I like to save my T4. I don't fight with T4 anymore in terms of like when they're going to die. I fight with my T5. I let them die because they're kind of just there to get me points and then die. Does that sound weird? You use them to get points and then die because, well, I talked about this, pardon me, in a separate video. Maybe I'll get the card up in the top if I even made a video on it. It was around when KVK was happening. It was totally nuts. When we got this skin over here, is when we upgraded a bunch of T4 to T5, and you just get so many points. I mean, it's just unbelievable. Like, the amount of speed ups to train a T4 or 2000 T4 is like a day, and the amount of speed ups to upgrade those T4 to T5 is like not even half a day. But you get like the bulk of the points going from T4 to T5. Blah blah blah. Open field fighting T4. Send your T5 to die, but also maintain some number of marches of T5 for Ark of Osiris and all that other stuff. My friends, I hope you've enjoyed this video. What are some of the things that you've been seeing at war that like you're just pulling your hair out, or you just can't believe, like, oh my gosh, this is still happening? What's the sort of stuff that you wish your alliance members knew? Leave a comment down below with that good stuff. Please do like and subscribe if you want to be better at war and enjoy this kind of stuff. And until next time, you have fun smashing the kingdom.